Balderdash, claptrap, mishmash, slapdash, giddy up, skinny dip, chock-a-block, shuttlecock, blunderbuss, chatterbox, dunderhead, rumpus, kipper-tie, booby-trap, butterfly, battercry, butternut, bottlebank, beater run, butterscotch, top-notch, hotch-potch, poop, scoop, hopscotch, steeplejack, stickleback, smokestack, bubblegum, bladderack, scattergun.
Bubble.
What's the word you particularly like? What's a jolly word? What's the sort of word that
Crinkle, crankle.
Crinkle crankle. Well, you at least.
I had that yesterday.
You did.
Yes.
Salmagundi.
Hang on. Whoa. I'm writing them down. Hang on.
Procrastination.
Any other additions?
Stramash.
Oh, yes.
Stramash.
Oh, Stramash.
Jabba jabba jabba, walkie. Jabba jabba jabba, walkie. No. Jabba jabba jabba, walkie. Jabba jabba jabba, walkie. Right.
Doris, have you got a word that you particularly like?
Poppycock.
Poppycock.
Lovely.
Now, what brought that to mind? What could possibly have brought that to mind? As well?
A lot of rubbish.
Flibberty gibbet.
Extramural.
Flibberty gibbet.
Oh, extramural.
Flibberty gibbet.
Extramural.
Flibberty gibbet.
Extramural.
Oh, flibberty gibbet.
Bam 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 shuffle 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 bam, and so on.
Yes, go for it.
Hey! Salmagundi, Jabberwocky, extramural, crinkle, crankle, scrunch, scallywag, flibbity, gibbet, scatterbox, bop.
Very
Very
good.
good.
But it's just interesting how people talking sort of rekindle memories. I mean, Anne was talking about the fire. You know, that was very much from my childhood. A fire would be lit, and then actually sitting by and having a book, and the comfort of the warmth from the fire and being in a safe place. This is when I was able to read myself.
I rather think that I was given books from the people next door, because I didn't have many books at home either. But I do remember Brer Rabbit.
Tolkien, The Lord of the Rings. And I may have read it rather early, but I remember being absolutely petrified by it. But at the same time wanting to keep reading.
I remember listening to things like children's favourites on the radio on a Saturday morning.
When I was in hospital when I was 7, and I was there for 3 weeks, and so in the evening a nurse would come and sit on my bed and read me these books, which were my books I brought to the hospital, and it was just like heaven. And I think that's why I started Wonderful Beast, really, sort of decades later.
Little pig, let me come
So
in.
my first reaction when you asked me was a book that I found in my mother's bookcase called Struer Peter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I remember it really well because it was cloth. It was made out of cloth. And it was watercoloured, hand coloured, I think, or like hand coloured, rather Yeah.
beautiful colours.
Yeah.
And it was the scissor man.
Yes, absolutely.
It was the cut off the thumb.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Johnny Head in the Air.
Yes, I was just going to say that was mine.
Johnny Head in the Air. And
Johnny Head in the Air.
the man who leaned back and
And all the fishes laughed when he
all
fell.
the fishes laughed when he went in. Yes.
And they were still being published in those days, so I waited each year for the new Arthur Ransom to come out.
Yes.
And then in came the woodcutter and chopped off the wolf's head. Oh, no, that wouldn't work. I don't know.
Miles, do you want to be a handsome prince? So he
I'll try.
loves himself, and he
This
needs
is typecasting, you realise.
How did they live at the end of the story?
Happily ever after, I should think.
Yay!
It's just a grumpy woman living in an uncommonly large vinegar bottle, meets a friendly fairy who provides her with increasingly large housing until she sends her back to where she came from, because basically the old woman's a bit grumpy. She never says thank you, does she?
No, she never says thank you. She's never satisfied. She moves from a vinegar bottle to a cottage with roses climbing over it, to a house in town, to a mansion with a great estate, to being a duchess with a carriage and servants, to the queen herself. But then she decides she doesn't want to be queen of this paltry little country, as she says, and decides she wants to be the Pope, at which time she turns around and finds herself back in the vinegar bottle.
Where do you think the old woman would prefer to live? Not in the country cottage, but a contrast to that. Pat, have you got an idea? I can see.
Oh, I think she'd want to go to a castle after that little tiny house.
A castle, a big castle. But of course, it's it's not everything it's cracked up to be in Buckingham Palace, as Paul is going to tell us about how awful it is to live there.
Well, have you heard all that noise? I have never lived in a place so drafty. People talking all the time, want you to do this, want you to do that. I thought I was going to be on my own. That's why I want a palace, to be on my own, not with all this lot.
It's a shame, it's a shame, it's a great big shame. I'm stuck in this great big shame. Shame, a shame, a great big shame. I'm stuck in a great big shame.
In our hand, Doris, we said a walnut. Walnut. We're going to have a walnut for growth and strength.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. And then in the other hand, we're going to have a star. We're going to have a star that Carol suggested. So we've always got, we can wish on a star.
I would like a summer house covered with sweet-smelling honeysuckle and jasmine that sits in front of an ornamental pool containing a large water lily.
I would fly to the tops of great mountains, skim down snow slopes, glide over glaciers, and follow rivers from their source to the sea.
So Jill, what's your second wish?
Well, it's even worse, really, because what I'd like is to have a very small, a really tiny, because you said it had to be in your hand, a tiny emerald green goblin that could sort of do things that I asked him to do.
Okay, well, it's got to be a talking hamster.
A talking hamster.
Yes. My grandchildren will be delighted.
I've got a tardigrade.
What's that?
Well, exactly. You see, it's only just recently come into my life, and it was taught to me by a child, one of our forest school children, and I spoke about it today, actually. It's an animal it's a micro animal that lives throughout the whole world, in deserts, in the Antarctic, on volcanoes, and it's extremely small. I've never seen one. And it's also known as a water bear, and it's also known as a moss piglet. I don't know much about them. The person on Desert Island Discs said there's, when the interviewer said, have you got any hope for humanity with climate change? And he said, well, the tardigrades survived.
Tardigrades, the tardigrades are having a ball.
Very well. Go to bed. Touch your nose 3 times and then close your eyes. When you wake up in the morning, you will see what you will see.
Five, 6, 7, 8. North and south. East, west.
And west.
Yeah. So east is up where the sun rises, and west we just look down.
Well, thinking about what's on offer, I think I want something a bit more refined. I wondered about an American-style gated community might suit me very well, a bit more exclusive, and it keep out the riffraff because I wouldn't get through the gate, and there'd be entertainment all the time. There might even be something like a golf. I could take up golf, a swimming pool, and I might go to a private gym. And there might be a personal trainer, they called, a sort of respectable toy boy for me. Is that possible?
So we'd like to hear your tropical island wish.
Your wish to be on the tropical island.
I wish for a tropical island. I've just arrived at the beautiful tropical island of my dreams. The sun is so hot that I shelter under the palm trees on the edge of the sandy beach.
Well, it's tough, isn't it? And I miss my family. And so I wish for my little grandson's hand again in my hand.
Bubble Wrap's wish. Bubble Wrap, wish twice. Into the hamster hole, land, full wonder with Alice. Dean of Hearts, word pack, tumbles and jumbles, bum shuffle sideways, crinkle in the stramarch, pit pat paddle pat and crankle by the light of Zoom. Far away land tree looms, everlasting springs sing soprano. Seek meaning, find laughter, humpety-backety garland our wishes, rainbow bright in a golden hug. Twice, wish wrap, bubble.
What a wonderful, wonderful world.
My wish had been granted. An emerald green gnome had entered my life and invaded my home. So all bubble wrap folk, my advice to you, be careful of wishes in case they come true.